All right, in this video we're going to be reviewing the Euybike. It's a K6 model and it has a very unique folding frame design that you can see here. At a 20-inch tires, it'll fit inside a car. Let's get started in the video and the review. We'll go over some unboxing, some ride footage, and of course, bit by bit, every piece of the bike and what I think about this bike as a whole. Let's get started. The Euybike K6 was definitely one of the easiest bikes I've ever unpacked and put together. It comes 95% completely assembled. All I needed to really do was take it out of the box, take off all of the protective wrapping, insert the handlebars into the neck. Then I decided I wanted to make sure I didn't get any flat tires, so I installed flat out tire sealant to both the front and the rear tires. Now I did use a bike rack to elevate the bike, only to get the tires off the ground to make it easier to install the flat out tire sealant, but you don't need one when you're actually putting this bike together because it comes so completely assembled. Once I did that, I tested all of the electricals, made sure everything was running, and then I was ready to ride. Okay, as you walk up and start stepping up to this Euybike K6 model, I want to go ahead and start with the front of the bike so we can work our way to the back. First of all, we do have mechanical disc brakes. These are 160mm mechanical. They work really fine for the weight of this bike and for the speed that it actually goes up to about 24 miles an hour is what we were seeing on an average on the high end. The mechanical brakes work perfectly. This is a very unique kind of a design of a bike, as you can see. Of course, we have suspension fork in the front, and for a folding bike this size, it also has suspension in the back, but we're going to talk about that a little later as we move toward the back of the bike. First and foremost, I want to show you that we do not have spokes like your traditional spoke rim here. So these are more like the mag style, where you don't have to worry about truing or your rim getting kind of making noise from maybe loose spokes. Very maintenance free. And as we move over to this side here, you'll see that we have our mechanical disc brakes. Again, at about 160mm, we do see that's labeled there. And I don't know which brand this is, the Riddick, but it does work fine. So I really do like the way that this bike just stops the way we want it to. Any expectations you have work well. We do have tire pressure up to 65 psi is what it says. I have these pumped up to about 55, and I did put flat out tire sealant to make sure that they don't get any flat tires with this as well. It does come with an integrated headlight. By hitting the plus button on your controller, which I'll show you later, it turns on your light, and holding it down turns it off. We do have this like really nice chrome looking fork, and as we move up a little, you can see as our cable management goes, very tight and neatly put together here. And I do like how there's nothing like loose or straggling all over the place. Next, I do want to point out that we do have a foldable neck here. So by pushing this out, you can pop down the neck, and this will allow you to bring down the handlebars. And again, I did say, like, as tight as these are, it does kind of make me a little nervous sometimes of how tight it actually really does get when I'm folding this down. But this foldable neck here allows you to go all the way down so that this bike does get pretty small. Because we're staying in the front here, I just wanted to show that. We'll do a full folding of it so you can see how small it really does get. Easily will fit into the trunk of most mid-sized cars. Of course, any SUV, that won't be a problem either. Putting this back up. And as you can see, even with one hand, I'm able to do that. A lot of times, other bikes, I won't be able to do this. And then, of course, just going ahead and putting in the safety latch into here, and that will lock it in. Now, one thing I am having problems with that you're seeing here is this is soft dirt, so just want to point out we do have a small kickstand in the back that does a decent job because this bike is so light. And you'll be hearing me saying that a few times. That's what makes it kind of a really ideal foldable bike. If anybody wants a foldable bike that can be either taken on public transportation potentially, or even stuck in the trunk of a car, you have a design that actually allows you to fold it even smaller than other bikes, because if you notice, this hinge is halfway through the bike. So a lot of times you have bikes that actually fold in half, and it's left, I mean, the back and the front are actually coming together this way. Here you have a fold that's in the middle of the bike, and it kind of, it's kind of like a swivel hinge more so, rather than like a door hinge. So, you know, because this also then leaves you with a shorter range from front to back, the ride is a little different. So for those of us who are shorter, this bike actually feels like it was made for us. If you're taller, you'll still like it because you will have a very upright position that's coming out of it. But keep in mind, the other thing that's really unique about this bike is the range from the ground to the pedal. And because of this range here being so high, you have a lot of clearance, but it also makes you ride higher. When you're riding higher, you feel like you actually can see more. Even on a bike, you'd think that your center of balance would actually be a little off, but this bike rides really well, and I like that I'm higher up. For some reason, it makes it feel better. Now, the cranks, I gotta say, these are pretty short crank lengths. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but we do have, like, I think it's a 44 tooth in the front, and the gearing is 11 in the back, which does allow you to actually still get a good crank, even though the shorter pedals. But you will see in some of the ride footage that even at 22 to 24 miles an hour, I'm pedaling a little fast, but it's not air pedaling. I'm still pushing it too. It's really interesting that you don't have to, or you can still be pushing the bike forward, even at the 21 plus miles an hour that you're going through. Now, we do have a rack in the back, but before going through the rack, I do want to also say that the battery is in here. I'm going to go ahead and show you a little later when we do the folding and unfolding and how the battery removal happens. Just a little different. They also have, I think they said it was a patented design, but this is the release for the folding mechanism that's in here. And so you just pretty much unscrew it, and then it will release a pin that's coming in here, and then when you're done, you screw it back in. Again, we'll go over that in the later footage. All right, so in this point, I want to go ahead and show you how this bike folds down, because it's a pretty unique situation from what you might see to other bikes. First and foremost, we're going to go down here. There is a screw that is basically a pedal unscrew here, and you just unscrew it, and the bike will start to fold like this. So you do have this. So it basically is just a pin that goes in, and I'm going to back up a few steps so that you get a full view of what it looks like to fold this bike. And what I like to do is put the pedal around this level here, because when I fold it, so typically what I do is I hold the brake on the back brake, and then I can just pop the frame this way because the back tire is being held. Now, kick up your kickstand, and then the bike can be put down this way and folded in as far as here. And so I'm going to turn the bike this way. Look how thin or slim it gets, and the handlebars are wide out now. Okay, so once we are here at this position of the bike here, all you need to do is bring this lock out for the neck. You're going to also want to bring the handlebar, this part here, loosen this so the handlebars can come lower. It could go lower without my bag here, but this is all the shortness that I need made down. Once I pop this out here, this handlebars will come down and fold so that we have it coming down and being really quite thin. And check how thin this bike is now. Of course, folding pedals, bring in even an extra like 2 to 3 inches on the right side that I said there, and this is it. You're looking at a width, about the width of my body, and that's it. I mean, this fits the whole bike. You can lay it down, put it in a trunk, and you'll be able to go and do it. It is also said in some cases to be able to be used in public transit. You have to check with your local transportation departments to see what can go, but this is literally how small it gets. It's a pretty compact bike. So to unfold it, actually before we do the unfolding, what I would like to do is show you how the battery comes out. And what I found is basically I separate it a little so that the bike stays stable. Once that stays stable, I'll go ahead and get the key, and then we'll be able to remove the battery. Okay, so now that I have the key, what I would do is I will be sticking it in to the battery at the bottom here, which I'll show a little closer when I get it out. But you just stick it in here. There's a pin on the right side that comes in. Pop that here and take out the plug, and the battery will come right out. Okay, and as you can see here, we have a 48 volt, 12.8 amp hour battery. And this is just my labeling here so that I don't get batteries mixed up. But very simple, easy to use. This is the pin I was talking about that comes in and out. That's what locks it. And then of course it's just a simple keyhole here, and this is to grab the battery to pull it in and out. Put the battery back in, just do the opposite. Stick it in here. We're gonna lift the bike up a little bit, slide it in, hold it. The pin gets in and we're ready to go. This bike does not need to have a key to run it. So that could be good and bad, depending where you live. You just wanna make sure that if you do have a key that's going to be used to take in and out the battery, it will not shut down the bike of any sort. It doesn't have that type of security on it. So make sure you carry a heavy lock depending where you're living. After that, let's go ahead and put the bike back together. Moving out here. Again, put the handlebars up here. Super easy to lock it up. Make sure you put your safety latch there. We're going to put the handlebars a little bit back up again. Tighten this up, and from here I just again hold the back brake, and then I can undo the bike like this. Move closer to you guys here because I want to show you again. Just all you do is you push this in here, push the bike together, and then all I have to do at this point is just screw this back in. And it has a stopping point where you don't have to worry about if it's all the way in or not, but you'll also know because the frame will no longer shift. It's completely stiff there, and it'll tighten up, and you're ready to go. The other thing we have here, still going to the front, we have a telescoping neck, so you can bring this up a lot higher if you wish. It does not come with the water bottle holder, but as you can see, there's no place to actually put a water bottle holder caged style. There's no water bottle bosses. So, you know, we sell these accessories on the e-bike product website. And this is something that you might want to consider getting when you're actually looking at a bike like this, is that something that can attach to your handlebars nice and clean and still hold your water bottle. You can also hold your cell phone here in this pocket. Again, that's at the ebikeproducts.com/shop website as an accessory. This here is our GPS. So anytime you see an overlay of speed, just keep in mind that it is coming from the GPS. It is not the actual camera bike that's following this to get the footage that we're getting. This is the actual speed of this bike that you are actually seeing. We do also have a very fast quick release here. You can pop this open, and then that way the handlebars will rotate, so you can easily adjust your angle of your brakes and also any of your shifting gears and accessories that we have here. The other thing is this bike does have a horn. Let me go ahead and turn it on, and a very simple display. Since we're talking about the cockpit area, let's go ahead and do that. While this is turning on, you just hold it a few seconds. It then turns on. You see a flickering only because of the frame rate of the camera, but for the most part it does not actually flicker. It's actually a very steady, and it is midday, and I can see it very clearly, so you don't have any issues with it. It also does work pretty decently with polarized glasses, where some displays of, you may notice, this is a full polarized anti-glare. Some displays you can't see anything when you wear sunglasses like this. This is not an issue with this, being that it's a very simple display. You do have your odometer. If you push the power button, it then goes to trip meter. Push it again, it goes to your voltage in your bike right now. So that's a really good indicator of battery level. Hit it again, you have your current time of this trip since turning it on, and then of course your overall mile. We've gone about 5 miles today in this trip so far, and we got about another 5 to go on the way to make the full round trip of today's ride. You have your standard SIS Shimano shifter. As again, you do have a horn, and it's a pretty decently loud horn, which does come out from the rear side of the headlight. This is the speaker here. They're called Wuxing brake handles, and these are used in a lot of different bikes that I've actually come across. With these, Wuxing, you do have your standard just adjustable cables if you want to tighten up the brakes a little more, but you also have your second cable coming out here, which means that you do have motor cutoffs. And when you do hold this here, there is a little indicator above this 0. Look right above here. When I hold this, you'll notice that that indicator does come on to tell you that your brakes have been initiated and the cutoffs are in play. Now there's a lot of other display things that I did see when I turned on the bike. Don't know exactly what those are for, because for the most part, this is still a very basic bike. It does exactly what you expect it to or want it to do, and it keeps you going straight and forward. Now the other thing I want to bring up, even though this is the back of the bike and I know we're supposed to be focusing on the front, I want to bring this to your attention because we are talking about the brakes. That brake cable as well, when you hit it, gives a brake light. So you do get, there, the brake light is going on and off, and you can actually see that it does give visibility at night. It does shine quite a bit. And when you do hold the plus button here, we're going to hold that down, you'll notice that there is a indicator that the headlight is on right above this second 0. And with that headlight on, you do actually have a brake light on, and I do have some pictures of that what it looks like when it was in the garage in the evening. Because this right now, it is currently 11 o'clock in the morning, and the sun is really bright right now, so you're not going to be seeing it. But you are able to see that the headlight is working. You know, we have 4 strong LEDs, and this is a bright light. When I was testing the bike out last night before this morning's ride, I did see that it was able to light up quite a bit for me, so I really did like that. Now this is a magnesium alloy integrated frame, so there is some weight to the frame, more than I thought I would expect. I have had a similar bike like this I reviewed in the past that was in this frame design. I did notice that it's a good weight. It's a very solid feel to this bike. I also want to bring up, when you're looking at this frame design here, you do see that it has this hinging point. And this is what allows you to have full suspension. So rear suspension back here with this. This is a spring-loaded shock, I believe, because it doesn't feel like a hydraulic of any sort. And of course, there's not a lot of play, but it does help to absorb all the little bumps that you would go like in and out of driveways, cracks, and maybe even some potholes that's going to, these both actually work very well. The front shock is actually quite soft, that a lot of times I'm kind of second guessing if I didn't pump up the tires enough. That's how soft that they feel. So that's actually it's kind of a benefit. I mean, that's how they feel, so soft that I just don't have any issues with the ride that comes out of this bike. It does come with a rack, and that's why the integrated headlight is actually part of the rack, if you notice that. So that's a cool thing. It's already part of it here. I don't know what the weight capacity is, but I do like that it is attached to the frame in multiple points where you could probably, you know, carry at least a good 25, 30 pounds without any issues on that. You do have a height seat adjustment here. It comes with a very thick post. It was, I think, almost 33 millimeters. The seat here is a basic standard seat. I have no problems riding with it because the shock absorbers are so good too that, you know, you don't have actually much bumps going into your back. Let's look at the gearing. We have a 7-speed with a Tourney Shimano derailleur. And we have our standard 7-speed shifter, very basic, going up and down your gearing here. That's all it takes. All right, continuing at some of the folding benefits of this bike, you do also have foldable pedals here. So we also have simple foldable pedals that snap in and out, work really well. I really actually like some of these. You may not think that it's a big deal, but if you think about it, you're actually saving almost 2.5 inches at the edge of the width of the bike. And if you do both sides, you are now saving almost 5 inches in width just by folding this up. So if you're sticking in the back of the trunk of a car and you're laying it down, this actually 2 inches keeps it 2 inches closer to the bottom of the trunk so that it's not actually so elevated, it won't rock so much. This is actually a really good benefit also when you're putting it away for storage. If someone's walking by, pedals do stick out. So with the pedals coming in, the handlebars coming down, the width of the bike becomes really, really thin. And that's another big benefit here. Now we do have, let's talk about the performance and the power of this bike here. Going back to the backside here of this motor. So we have a 48-volt battery at a little over a 12 amp size capacity in there. And this pushes a 500-watt motor. That's a 48-volt motor as well. It's a 20-inch rim. It goes up to about 800 watts total. And with that, you get actually a decent amount of power coming out of here. The bike came like 99% assembled. I think I just have to stick the seat in very little to do other than adding the flat out tire sealant, which is an optional thing, but you can put this together really quickly and be riding in no time. I mean, the handlebars have to be stuck in there as well. That's why I say maybe 99% or 98% assembled. Doesn't hardly take anything to get this thing together. Of course, I still would recommend making sure you go over every nut and bolt to make sure it's all tightened. But in the meantime, when you're riding with a 500 watt motor with a 48 volt battery and about 800 peak power, you can get a pretty decent ride that's very comfortable and very smooth. The acceleration on this, even on pedal assist 1, give you throttle that will, I think, stop you at about maybe 8 to 10 miles an hour, and then you can gradually even go higher and higher as you put more pedal assist into it. Now, one thing I did notice about this is that you will get the most power out of throttling. And with throttling, you get up to about 30 miles range from the battery that's inside of here if you're doing throttle only. They say at pedal assist 1, and without really throttling very much, you can get potentially up to a total of 60 miles on it. Now that would be, I think they did range that at a 170 pound rider with minimal hills and the terrain being very mild. So with throttle only, you can get up to maybe about 30 miles or 25 to 30, I'd say, around that range. And that would get you a very decent ride as well. And because of its size, it actually does give a fun performance that you can take this bike anywhere. It's a great performer all in all. So if you're looking for a bike that's not a fat tire bike, but yet has the comfort of a fat tire bike because of its suspension, I would say that this is a bike that you might want to potentially consider. We have so many different bike options out there, but a lot of times they can't fit in certain places, or you need something that's smaller. This will do it. It is ranged from someone who's 5'1", but the one thing I wanted to also keep in mind is that this seat is quite high because the pedal clearance is so high here off the ground that if you want to get full pedal leg extension, you would have to keep the seat higher, which means it does feel as though that you're jumping up on the bike every time you're starting. And that's another thing I just want to make sure that I do bring to your attention. A lot of times people might actually want to stop and put their feet down. With this seat as high as it is, for me being 5'5", there is no way my feet will even come able to touch the ground, both feet on the ground at the same time. I do have to get off every time I stop, which for me is fine. A lot of bikes are like that anyway, especially when I talk about 26-inch fat tire bikes. Those are just bigger, and this does allow for a smaller rider to go ahead and sit on it, depending on the rider style. But because the foldability is going to be a lot smaller than other bikes, it still is an option, and it's, like I said, you can get used to how close the front to back is very quickly. I did, and that was something that's really nice. It does offer a lot of other potential as far as using it as a commuter. That will allow you, with the rack that's in the back there as well, you can have this ability to now take this up the stairs, or you can actually carry it, or even putting it into your office and fold it, stick it in the corner, where you just need a bike either to go to the grocery store, run some quick errands around town. This is going to be a bike that's going to be perfect, or especially if you live in a small like condo or an apartment. So this is the EUY bike, which is the, I think pronounced Euybike, the K6 model. It runs right now at the time of this recording at $700, and you can see it at ebikeproducts.com/Euybike. Again, that's ebikeproducts.com/Euybike. It'll take you directly to the website, and you can check it all out and get more information about the Euybike K6 there on their website. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your comments on what you think this bike would be great for, now that you've seen all of the features that are available for it, and knowing that it can go from 30 miles range throttle alone up to 60 with some pedal help, and even 24 miles an hour is pretty impressive for a bike that's a foldable this size and this compact. And be sure to look in the description below, because sometimes a lot of these manufacturers will reach out to me and say, hey, there's a coupon for even additional discounts on that. Shipping is included with that, and the bike will usually come within a few days depending where you are in the United States. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.